Hey, this is Russ. Next week marks the 2 year and 7 month anniversary of my knee replacement. Yeah, it was always on the 19th. So it's kind of hard to believe that so much time has already gone past, and yet we're still talking about the knee. Well, you guys actually encouraged me to continue talking about it, even though my knee is getting a little bit better now. All right. But I wanted to talk about a topic that probably is the number one thing people ask me about my knee. What do you think that would be? Yeah, you're right. The MUA, the dreaded MUA. And I have many videos about the MUA, but I figured it was time to talk about it one more time because I got a couple more questions that came in about it. So let me first say this. I don't know everything there is to know about the MUA. All right, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physical therapist. I have no clue what's really going on, other than the fact that I went through two of them. So all I can really do is give you what happened to me. But I do know from hearing from so many of the knee patients out there that there are some common things that they've had some issues with too. Okay. Now, I will admit that it's scary the first time before you even go in for the MUA. I was terrified in going in. I was hurting so bad with my knee, and I wasn't bending very well. So I think I was in the 70s, something like that. And a month had gone by, and the doctor says we're going to have to do something. I mean, when he says that, what do you think you're gonna be really nervous about that? You were nervous going in just getting your knee replaced. Now he says we're going to have to go do something about it. So the first thing in my mind is, what's he going to do? Is he going to cut it open again and do something? He says, no, we're going to bend it for you. So what the MUA does is they knock you out. Okay, and then the doctor grabs your leg and starts moving it back and forth until it bends more. And essentially what it was doing for me, it was breaking the scar tissues that was holding back my flexion. Okay, and when he was in the operating room, he got 130 degrees of flexion and 0 degrees of extension. I've shown these photos before for so long. So if you're a long time Russ is Right watcher for knee replacement, you've seen it forever. Okay. But I'm glad he took those photos, because without those photos, we would have nothing to show, all right, in an actual operating room working on somebody's MUA, which happens to be mine. And the doctor did it specifically because he knew that I was a photographer, and he says he's going to want these photos. Little did he know that I was going to put it on the internet forever, okay? But I'm glad he did it. And I was in the operating room with him 3 times prior to the MUA. So I've been in the operating room with him 5 times now, okay? So each knee got scoped out where they fixed my torn meniscuses many years ago. And then I came in for the knee replacement, so that makes it 3 times. And then the 2 MUAs makes it 5 times, okay? But he took photos at both MUAs to show me, just to show that you are able to get the 130 degrees out of this knee. But of course, when he's done with it, I didn't get the 130 degrees when I woke up, because the pain kept me back from bending. Yeah. So one thing that was interesting is Tony Maritano, who's a licensed physical therapist. He's on the internet as well, on his knee replacement channel. I'll put a link in the description below. You can click on it and you can watch Tony's videos. But he always says that, you had 130 degrees in the operating room. Do you think your scar tissue grew back so fast that you couldn't bend your knee again? And the answer is no, it can't grow that fast. You're talking a couple hours later, you're waking up, and then they're asking you to go back to physical therapy and bend it again. Yeah, I'm not kidding. The very first time I had the MUA, a couple hours after the MUA, I had to go into physical therapy and do my physical therapy. And I didn't get 130. Obviously, you can see that he gave it to me in the photo. I couldn't get that. So he says, is it your scar tissue grew back that fast that you couldn't bend? And I said, no. I don't think so. It can't grow back that fast, right? What I think it was is that it hurt after the MUA. And that pain continues to travel into your leg and your knee. And that's what's holding you back, all right? So now eventually, if you don't work it, if you went through the MUA and you left it alone and you said, okay, I'm done, I don't have to do any more physical therapy, you're not going to get that range, even though he did, because the hurt is going to hold you back from bending it. Then the scar tissues will probably grow back in again, and then you're going to be stuck again. So you have to keep working in physical therapy after the MUA, and that is the hard part of it all, because not only did your knee hurt from prior to the MUA, now your knee probably hurts a little bit from him pushing it. And definitely your quad muscles and other muscles in your leg is going to hurt too, because he's been stressing those muscles like crazy to get that thing to bend. All right. And to extend. I don't want to forget about the extension, because he has to work on the extension too. And don't forget your extension. Okay. My biggest problem is I was working on the flexion so much. We didn't do a whole lot of stuff in physical therapy for my extension. And because of that, when I was finished from the physical therapy, I wasn't really technically finished. I just stopped going because the pandemic happened. And I was at about 10 degrees for extension. And that holds you back from standing up straight. Yeah. If you watch some of the music videos that I did, I was at home, I was doing music videos and things. And just search in the playlist, you'll see music videos, and that's me playing everything and singing and playing guitar and bass and drums and things like that on the keyboard and stuff. So anyways, if you watch that, you'll see that I actually have a little bit of problem standing properly, because all of my weight was put on my right leg to baby the left leg, which wasn't straight. So you have to work on the extension. Okay, don't neglect the extension. Let's get back real quickly to this MUA business now. So they do the MUA. The pain keeps me back from bending more, even though they got 130 degrees out of it. A month later, I asked for a second MUA. I actually asked him to do it again. That's the glutton for punishment for me. Yeah, I wanted to do it again because I knew he hit 130. I couldn't get it. I says, if we did it again, will we get better? And he says, yeah, you might be able to reach more if you did it again. And sure enough, he hit 130 again and 0 degrees again. But again, afterwards, I couldn't get it. Because after the first MUA, remember I was in the 70s, I went into the 90s, low 90s. Did it again, I went into the low 100s, okay? And then after lots and lots of more work at physical therapy, I finally hit 130 after being pushed heavily by the physical therapist. On my own, I was probably getting 117 range, something like that, okay? And so then the pandemic happened and I stopped going. And then eventually, I started seeing that my flexion started reverting backwards. I was getting down to, I don't know what it was, 105, 112s, in that range. It kind of fluctuated. I can't remember. It's been so long at this point. But it was definitely lower. And then I started to panic. I go, oh no. After all that work, things are going backwards. And that's because nobody was pushing my leg. Nobody was forcing it more. And even though I was doing exercises, I wasn't doing the exercises to the amount that the therapist pushes hard to get it to bend. I mean, if it hurts, you're not going to keep doing it. You're going to kind of slow yourself back down. The therapist doesn't slow down. He feels it and he says he can go a little bit more, and he pushes even more, okay? That's why I went to physical therapy. People said, did you go there just to get pain? Yeah, technically I did. I went there for the pain because I needed that pain in order for me to get bending. And so what happened was Joint Active Systems, Jazz, sent me another unit. I had one of these units before to help me out. They found out about my problem, and they offered to send it back to me so I can keep working with it. And that really made a difference. It brought my flexion back to about 120 degrees. And then my extension, they gave me a second unit for the extension too. That's how much they did for me. And I think I hit, what did I get down to? 3 degrees? I don't know. I'll put my stats up here. I haven't looked at those stats in a while, but it's all up in there. And that was better than the 10 degrees that I had. So I improved in my extension. I got my flexion back to 120. And to this date, I'm still at 120 and 0. Yeah. So all I'm saying is that the MUAs, it worked for me. It doesn't work for everybody, I don't think. But it definitely worked for me, okay? Because people ask me, is it going to help me? I don't know. I have no idea. I hope it does, okay? And if you ask me, should I do it or not do it, I'll typically say, what does your doctor say? If he thinks that you should do it, maybe you should try it. But what are the inherent problems, people always ask? Well, the inherent problem is, they have this thing in your bones, right? They kind of, if you ever seen the actual device that they put in you, they kind of drill into your bone and they put it in there and they cement it in there and everything. If you have brittle bones, you could break the bone. That is the inherent problem. So I think if you're going to go through an MUA or your doctors ask you to consider doing it, I think the first thing you should ask them is that going to break my bone? Okay, because I know that you don't know to ask this, but I've heard it from others that have had problems after the MUA. Yeah, they could technically break it. If you have brittle bones, they could technically break the bone. But hopefully your doctor knows about this and doesn't suggest the MUA unless he knows you can get through that. Okay. Now, he said for me, I was young enough to be able to do it. Young enough. I mean, what was I, 60 years old or something? It's still considered young enough. But compared to others, he says, you can still do it. So we did it, and I was fine with it. So if you ask me, should I do it or not, you'll find that I usually won't give you an answer for that. I'm not qualified to give you the answer. All I can suggest is that you should talk to the doctor, or if you're not sure, talk to a second doctor. Okay, or talk to another therapist or whatever. Ask for some professional advice. Don't ask a guy from YouTube. I don't know anything. I just know enough that it worked for me. That's all I can tell you, and it hurt. Right? The hurt didn't happen until afterwards, and it hurt in the quad muscles because it was strained so much. And many people have told me too that they had the same pain from all that pushing that they do to break up their scar tissues. So it's a second type of pain. In fact, I think those quad muscles pains hurt more than the MUA. I'm not kidding. I think it hurt more of there because as the physical therapist was pushing on me after the MUAs, I could feel it in my we're talking the thigh muscles, okay? If you don't know the technical names of your muscles, we're talking your thigh muscles, okay? On the top of your thigh, all right? Right up on top here, okay? That's where it was hurting, and that stopped me a lot, okay? Some people had the issues with IT band things or, hamstring problems, whatever. I mean, the muscles get strained so much that that hurts more on top of it, on top of the knee pain. So if you don't like pain, okay, you're not going to like the MUA. Oh, okay, let me say this too. People don't like the fact that I laugh during these videos, okay? I laugh because that's how I deal with it, all right? I'm not laughing at your situation. I'm not making light of your situation, all right? It's just how I deal with things. Everything I've done, if I know that there's pain involved or I know that there's something really bad that's going to happen, I start laughing. It's just the way I am, okay? Now, you might know too that I actually used to work in the forensic field. Yeah, I went to homicides, I did the autopsies, I did all that. I took evidence photos, I collected evidence at crime scenes. Did I laugh at that stuff? Kind of, yeah. But I didn't laugh at it while I was working, okay? I laugh at it after. And you'll find a lot of us who work on these type of trauma type of things, we have to find something that allows us to get through that, okay? Otherwise, this will eat at you forever. And to me, it was always trying to find a humor in it all, okay? If I was serious about everything, believe me, those things would be nightmares for me because I've seen things that, unspeakable things, let's put it that way, all right? So I just try to find a humor in some of these things. And I know a lot of the law enforcement agents are kind of similar. Yeah, you might say, oh, these guys are heartless. No, they're trying to cope with it, okay? And that's the same thing with my knee. Trying to cope with it, I put humor in it. And that's how I got through it all, okay? I've said it before. I just said, find something that helps you through it. Because if you can't find that point where you can just deal with it, it becomes so difficult that you don't want to do it anymore. And then you give up, and then that's when your knee becomes more of a problem, okay? I always say don't give up, right? Work through it. Find something that pushes you through. For me, it's finding the fun in it all. Because if you think about it, it is kind of funny. Pain is funny. For me, pain is funny, okay? And that's how I get through it, all right? Now, you might not agree. You might say, it's terrible, it's awful. But, if you're always doom and gloom for everything, yeah, it is awful then. Yeah, try to find some humor in it all, okay? And get yourself through it. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to say that the MUAs is necessary for some people, may not be for everybody. You might have more pain. I'm not going to say you're going to have less because you're probably going to have more pain right afterwards. But that pain was worth it for me. I mean, it was worth it so much I asked for a second one. How's that? Yeah, you can laugh at mine, okay? If you can't laugh at yours, you can laugh at me. You can say, look at this idiot. He went through it all twice. But it paid off. Yeah, it paid off. I'm doing well now. I'm not perfect. I can't walk perfectly. I do walk decent. People have seen me walk. You've seen the samples I did where walking up and down the stairs, yeah, I can do it. But I'm not moving as fast as I used to, okay? But I can do it, all right? So, yeah, don't give up. Keep doing it. Find something that gets you through, all right? I'll talk to you guys next time.